further ado, I'd like to introduce our first group. This is the United Nations System Staff College and our great friends there. And I'd like to introduce them briefly and then turn the time over to them. We have Hugo Caruso. By the way, all of these wonderful people, you can see more in-depth bios on the conference website. So I'm not going to read them all because that's going to take some valuable time. So Hugo, who's the portfolio manager there, and Sofia Exarchou, who is an education and learning technology professional, and Claudia Gallardo. And the three of them have worked on this wonderful project, and I'll turn the time over to them.
Vince, thanks a lot. Delighted to be here with the team, and also thanks Corey for all the preparatory work. And thanks everyone for joining the session. So what we're going to do is that to guide you through our Blue, the chatbot that is actually now working in our learning management system. Let me tell you in advance that the presentation is actually structured in 3 parts. So I'm going to go ahead and cover the first part that is actually on challenges and goals, and give a little bit of an introduction about the platform and the idea. Then I hand over to Sofia that will guide you through the existing versions of what we have done with Blue, and also do a quick demo. And then with Claudia, and then we tell you what's in what we are planning as an update for Blue and the new features that we're going to implement in the platform. So let me go ahead with a quick overview about the platform. And we have designed a dedicated platform called the Blue Line. Is actually designed with a precise ambition, so be a learning ecosystem open to everyone in the UN system for personalized learning and design around the notions of self-directed learning. Modules are designed based on key challenges and work of the UN system. And we constantly update the platform with new elements, new modules coming from research work that we do in partnership and collaborations with agencies, focal point, as well as several colleagues within the system. So at the moment, we have more than 27,000 colleagues registered from senior to junior level, connected from more than 150 duty stations. In for us within the UN system, duty stations also include area in conflict-related scenario. So part of the world where learning also play an instrumental role in supporting the activities that we do in that specific area of the world. Now, why we have designed and came out with the idea of chatbot. First of all, we identified the following challenges. So we wanted to really design a scalable service to support colleagues in the platform through the self-directed journey. What we noticed is that several colleagues, particularly at the beginning of the platform, launched in April 2020, came in with no preconceived idea about the specific pathways and really wanted to have an immediate feedback about the best way to start based on their responsibility level, duty stations, and or specific organizational trajectory. The second aspect is that we wanted to leverage human-computer interaction as part of the learning experience. So the interactions and the work the colleagues will do with the chatbot is not only an additional so we don't conceive it as an additional add-on, but it's really part and parcel of the learning experience that they have in the platform. And Sofia will tell you a little bit more what colleagues can do really at the beginning of their learning experience, by the time they have to identify and assess specific learning goals. And then moving from self-directed to self-regulated learning, use specific features of Blue to structure their learning journey. Now, having identified the challenges, we formulated the following goals. We really wanted to offer each and everyone in the system the possibility to use Blue to structure their self-directed journey. We wanted to have Blue not only as an additional add-on, but as a key component of the learning experience. And then our goals were really to get colleagues familiar with the interface and use Blue also as part of a broader, a more pervasive engagement that we are doing in other projects. So we really want to use The chatbot is an archetype of the broader and pervasive engagement that we want to do thanks to through our R&D work. And then the chatbot to improve or to be a component not only of the user but also of the learning experience. As you see that one of the several features of Blue, besides the support to the learning experience and the possibility to really help colleagues self-regulate the journey, is also to function as a stewards for participants on how to learn and understand the platform and how to better use all the different array of functionalities that we have designed for them and are available in the platform. Let me stop here and let me hand over to Sophie and cover the part on how Blue actually work at the moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and hi everyone. So in this part of the presentation, we would like to briefly introduce you to Blue and some of the key features. So as Ugo mentioned before, among other things, because nowadays Blue is being updated a lot, but what we started with Blue was with three main things. First of all was to help users access tutorials, find their courses and get them acquainted with the platform because it takes some time to get used to. Secondly, we wanted to provide them the chance to personalize their learning plan. So we used Blue to guide learners through a self-assessment, and by the end of that self-assessment, provide them with a personalized report of what their learning plan could look like. That consists of several modules that they could take whenever they have time. And then building on that, we wanted to actually help them provide time for themselves to study. So we also added a block study time feature in Blue so that it helps them create personal habits of learning and adding particular time slots in their calendar for personal development. So what does that look like in practice? So the finding and course component, which was the most straightforward for us in terms from a help desk point of view and so on. So we kind of asked Blue, let's say, to guide participants through how the platform works. So instead of using Blue as a search engine for the different courses that we have at the moment in the platform, we teach our users to use actually the search engines that are already available or the different features of the platform. In this way, it shares screenshots on how to use the search bar and the filter menu, and also it notifies us by sending us emails if participants get stuck in the process of finding a course. The second part was about the self-assessment, and in the options of using Blue, there's take a self-assessment option, and in that one, users take a test. Let's say they reply to multiple choice questions, and depending on what they respond, there's like around 17 or 18 questions. Depending on their responses, there's a matrix behind that. Learners receive a report in their email, but also inside the chatbot, guiding them with their key priorities, guiding them through the key priorities for learning. As you can see in the screenshot, here's a hyperlink. Check your learning plan that takes you to a separate page where you can see from priority 1 to priority 25 actually what modules you should be taking on Blue Line. And thirdly, we added the block study time feature where Blue helps users create their learning habits by blocking study time in their calendars for personal development. And this happens quite easily. And I'm going to show you this actually now. I will just try to change from the presentation to the live. And you can see how you can go to a separate page by clicking on the hyperlink and blocking your study time. And let me just try to see if I can stop sharing this one and I can just enter the platform and try to show you the experience there. I hope you can see my screen. So this is our beautiful Blue Line, and here is Blue. So you can actually, and I will be typing study time, and Blue will start interacting with me, and it says, okay, let's block. Let me just zoom in also so that you can see a little better. Let's block out time on your calendar. What time and date works for you and what period of time you want to spend for studying. And here's a hyperlink where it takes me to a second page. And here, there's the widget where I can actually book my study time for tomorrow at 5:30, let's say. By clicking on block study time, okay, it tells me, well done. Now, you cannot hear it, but I heard a pling on my email, where I actually got a calendar invite to add to my calendar. The Blue makes also a little sound effect and makes me go back to my dashboard and see, okay, got it. I'll send the calendar invite to your email. And what else can I do for you today? I will say that's it for now because we need to move on with the presentation. But you can just see very quickly what that looks like in practice. I hope you can still see the presentation. And I mean, yeah, that was the little demo, but I mean, we can go on forever with showing the different things because we're keep on building on those. But I think it's more interesting that you hear our ideas for the future. And for that, I would like to pass on to Claudia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sofia. So as Sofia said, I'm going to explain now what we have learned, that we have tried something new and we learned that that didn't work. As Sofia said before, Blue is set to help users to know how to find a course. And until now, it gives instructions on how to use the search bar. So we thought, why not to upgrade Blue and make it to work as a search bar? However, during this process, we realized that it was a lot of work for us to distribute all the courses in chunks based on different words. And the list that we were sharing to our users were really long and complex, which was not an efficient strategy. So then another thing that we learned, please, Sofia, is about our 3-question feedback survey that Blue will send after each conversation. We realized this might annoy our users and it wasn't providing us with essential data. That is why we're studying different options to find a way to get the data on our users' satisfaction rate towards Blue without asking a lot of effort from them. Next slide, please, Sofia. And for our next step, we're currently working on a behavioral project to help and influence our users to create a learning habit with Blueline. After doing some research, we found out that to create a habit, a person needs to have, firstly, clear goals and an action plan to follow. But more interestingly, a person needs to link this behavior, this desired behavior, with a cue to create that habit. For example, linking studying with a specific environment or a time of the day or another behavior. For example, drinking coffee or going to work by the metro. But but it has to be something that is common in the user's day-to-day life. The reason behind this is to get the repetition, so their brain will link this behavior and to another thing, and it will become automatic for them. For example, if a person goes to work by train every day, instead of listening to music or being on their phones, we have to change that behavior into going to Blueline and spending that time doing the courses. For it also, we have to play with the rewards, but that's another part. So in the end, Blue will support users during this process by collecting all this information I just explained and sending strategic notifications based on the specific times that they comment to us to not burden our users. Wait, you need to change the slide. You can see here some you can see here some examples of the other one. Sorry, Sofia. You can see here some examples of notifications, the type of message that Blue will be sending, and it will be related to behavioral heuristics and biases that will get the user to be engaged and motivated into going into the platform. And finally, at the end of each week, Blue will send the users a weekly report based on the efforts that the user put in their goals, and also will share the user's goal for the following week. So it will help the person to organize their schedule a priori.
And just a final quote from our side. And I don't know if there are any questions or there's anything else that you would like to see. Please let us know, and we're here for that.
That's great. I have a question on the assessment. I was wondering, was that an assessment that already existed somewhere and you made it into the chatbot, or was that brand new that you made just for the chatbot?
Actually, that's a great question. Ugo, do you want to take it, or shall I go?
Feel free to take it. I'm going to follow up with to complement that.
Thank you very much. So we had an initial assessment in place that was, let's say, reflecting the current portfolio that we had in our platform. But then, given the different capacities of the chatbot, we decided to completely revamp it and make it much more, let's say, conversational, like than the first attempt. And because of the branching capabilities that we have and the much more powerful access to, like the pointing system that we could use, what could be much more elaborate in the chatbot actually. So we decided, it was kind of a last minute thing that we decided to move all the self-assessment in the chatbot and simplify it even, so that it did not have to be like radio buttons from 1 to 5 as we had before, but it could be more of a yes, no, maybe. That at the end reflects much more the current reality of an individual when they're taking a self-assessment for their learning. So it existed, but it was very, very different from what we have at the moment. Ugo, anything to add, or Claudia on the matter?
One thing that I wanted to add is that one of the other features that Blue is actually playing a great role is actually gathering feedback or questions from users. This is also for us was a key added value when they are completing the assessment. So the user can actually use Blue to send questions that it reach us directly our email for help desk. And that in itself is a fantastic way for us to also extract and get some trends, something that is not clear about assessment. So use that feature to update it over time and to increase the effectiveness of the assessment per se.
Great, thank you. There's another question that came in the Q&A. It said, Sophie, you beat me to it. You ready? Answer the question. You're too fast.
No, I'm so sorry. I was thinking that maybe we're running out of time, and I was like, okay.
Well, I'll ask the question, and Sophia answered it. Maybe if there are other answers to it, but did you experience any difficulties with users engaging with the chatbot? And I might also add to that, anything surprise you about user engagement as you launched the chatbot?
I can reply to the first part, and then I can hand over to someone else from the team. So in terms of the use, of course, there's sometimes people that I mean, even me, like, let's see a chatbot and you start asking it unexpected things that we have not accounted for before in the script. That's a common thing. With the guidance of you and Corey and all, we have actually managed to have these notify UNNSC buttons. So whenever if I say something now to Blue, let's say Blue Monday, I'll just write, why not? And it will not know. So you will be like, okay, I don't have an answer ready for that. So do you actually want to notify the UNNSC team or return to main menu? And actually, this is where the users that really get stuck reach out to us, and that has helped a lot our help desk, to be honest, because we are able to manage the request and follow up with them. So this is something that we've really appreciated, and we use it anytime that the dialogue leads to a dead end. This is what we use, and this is how users reach out to us. And then on the second part of the question, if Ugo or Claudia remember it, I pass it on to you.
Yeah, just in case the question was there anything surprising about user engagement that you learned?
Well, one surprise and one actually tactic that we did well, because I mean, one thing that I wanted to clarify at the beginning, in the initial formulation of the script, we actually worked with Margin Mitchum, and of course with Vince and Corey. And that is actually proved a key strong asset for us in getting our hands dirty with the chatbot. One of the things that we did since the very beginning is that when we launched, we presented Blue as part of a team. So as an additional member of the team. So for colleagues, besides the fact that there are growing familiarity with the idea of interacting with a chatbot, immediately we helped them identifying the fact that it was not an external services out of the team that we implemented but really it was a core part of the supports that the team from UNNSC actually do to all users in the platform.
That's great. Thank you. It looks like Corey is answering Dimitri's question, because I think we're going to thank our UNNSC SSC. Your acronym is too hard for me to say. But thank you so much. There is another question. Jessica asks about if the chatbot can reach a live person when it reaches a dead end. And that's that notify the staff button that Sophie was showing. So a lot of people aren't super aware of the notification features in the mobile coach platform, but there's actually quite a few notification triggers you can do to to notify a wide variety of live people, whether it's support staff and tickets like these folks we're talking about, or yourself as the chatbot designer. You could be notified not only when there's a dead end, but really at any time during the chatbot that you find that useful. So it's been wonderful to interact with you. If you have questions, keep putting them in the Q&A as we transition to the next group, and hopefully someone on the UNNSC team can hang on and answer some of these questions. And so thank you, Hugo, Sofia, Claudia. Thank you very much. Everyone give them a round of applause.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yes, of
Thanks
course.
a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. So now our next group presenting is our friends from Takeda. Hopefully they're on already. Yep. So I'll do a very quick introduction to this really fun group. We're going to move from Blue to Nacho. So very thrilled to have Val Quezada, who's the L&D manager now at her location at Takeda. She's been a great champion for chatbots in general, for any really innovative technology in general. Daniel Lachman, who's the manager of environment and sustainability at the Los Angeles site for Takeda, and Obed, Varela, who is the global head of EHNS. This is such a fun project too, and so I'll let the team take it away.
Thanks, Vince. So I'll start by just sharing that Takeda as an enterprise is working really hard on reducing carbon emissions, reducing waste, reducing our water withdrawal. And a lot of these concepts are not easy to understand, especially when you want to connect with the rank and file. So we're trying to figure out how do we make it fun, and how do we make it so that they remember some of the stuff that we need their help with. And I'm talking about the folks that work in the manufacturing floor. And lo and behold, Valerie or Val Quezada came up with one of her many brilliant ideas, and she's like, "Why don't we use a bot?" And I'm old, so I don't know what that is until we finally started making the connection, and it just kind of took off. And we decided that we're going to use this bot to help introduce these sustainability concepts to the folks on the floor. And then we had even more fun when we came up. We're thinking about what to call our bot, and we said, well, he's Nacho Ordinary Bot, and then we decided to call him Nacho. And one thing led to another. Before you knew it, we had Nacho and Chip, and we had a shirt, and like this thing just took off. And it was so much better than I expected, especially the folks that had a chance to engaged with Nacho, learned a lot. And we also noticed that it was doing exactly what we wanted to do, which was helping our folks learn about our initiatives, and they were having fun. So with that premise, I'm going to hand it over to either Dan or Val for the details on the initiative, so that they can make justice to the bot initiative that we had.
Thank you, Obed. I don't know if Dan, it sounded like he crashed, technology at the worst possible time. Oh, good. So I am sharing the slide deck. I wasn't sure what the plan was, so here it is. Sorry, I sped through some of that. But like Vincent said, it's going to be recorded, so you'll always have access to it. So Dan, take it away. I will keep us moving through the slide deck.
All right, thank you, Val. So we did have a challenge that was presented to us, and it was to engage and educate our site. We have over 900 employees, plus quite a few contractors who could have interacted with this. And we really want to engage with them to drive sustainability initiatives with the goal of reducing our environmental impact. And we chose to do this during World Environment Week of 2022 to really highlight, what we have going on at the site from sustainability perspective. So our goals, the biggest one, increase sustainability awareness, really bring and communicate to our employees. And we wanted to do that by sharing Nacho and all of his lovely guacamole with the site, to share our challenges, right? We've always had some challenges, and challenges are a good thing. They strive us and help us move, but also our goals and our impacts. And then also, we wanted to highlight World Environment Week, and we did have a lot of Nacho shirts that went out. They were a limited edition, and we used that to help highlight World Environment Week. And then lastly, highlight recent sustainability initiatives at the site. And this is where Nacho really came into play. And when he would interact with employees, he would also share those sustainability initiatives. All right, so Nacho Bot, he is Nacho an ordinary bot. So that was the catchphrase that we had for him. So he was a 1-week experience to coincide with World Environmental Week of 2022. And we pushed him to employees by using MS Teams platform. As you can see, there's a screenshot right here where he's interacting and introducing himself. And unfortunately, he wasn't as snarky as I hoped he would be. I think maybe next time we can give him a bit more wit, I think, Val. And we were aiming to have one question a day to earn points for one-of-a-kind Nacho Bot t-shirt, which was an extreme limited edition guacamole green. And I think we have a picture of it a little further down, but go ahead, Val. And so with a 1-week experience, this is just another snapshot of the chatbot demo script. So, he would speak, and we would have him propose the questions with options for answers, and then employees would choose the answers. And then depending on how many questions they got right, they would get a little hashtag image next to him. I think of a burrito, a spicy pepper, and a nacho chip, I think it was. There we go. Yeah. So it was an avocado, chili pepper, and a burrito. So is this one mine or yours, Val?
It can be either. I can go.
I can take it if you like. Okay.
So
lessons learned, we did have, a total of 65 participants with an 87% of users being high responders. I think that's partially because we started planning and implementing this a week before we decided to launch it. So I think
better late than never.
Yeah, better late than ever. In the future, if we can communicate and initiate this maybe a month in advance, we definitely see higher numbers and greater participation. Definitely want to increase visual communications at the site. So we do have plasma screens located throughout the site, and we want to, if we want to communicate this better, we would have to put them on those plasma screens so employees who are walking down the hall could see these. But also investigate different incentives to increase participation. Yeah, the shirt was great, but what else can we do? Can we actually offer some chips and guac at the end to the highest participants or to all participants? And maybe we could have some other opportunities there too.
Yeah, definitely. Just to add to that, we did do this in a short amount of time, and Vincent's team was excellent in getting the script out to us based on what we had originally discussed with him and adding in these cool little nuances with the emoticons to make it more playful, which were awesome. I think people really enjoyed seeing their name up on the board with how many emoticons, and we have a very competitive site. So yes, I think if we would have planned this out a little sooner and been able to do some OCM so it would be more visible to the rest of the site, our participation probably would have been a lot higher. But that being said, I feel like Vincent's team, the platform, does an amazing job, so that even in a short amount of time, we were able to accomplish a lot.
All right. I have a question, and if people have questions, please put them in the chat or the Q&A. You've talked a lot about the competitive nature of the site. Tell us a little bit about the decision to put in gamification. Do you do gamification a lot? I think gamification is an interesting way to engage users, and so curious about that decision.
Yeah, definitely. I think because I have an instruction design, I'm always thinking about how we can engage the adults at our site, and gamification tends to be something that everyone enjoys. And so putting in the competitive nature and a t-shirt, winning something special that no one else or a majority of the site won't have, was a direction that we tend to go in. We've done other chatbots with Vincent's team and Mobile Coach related to compliance and quality. And same idea, we did embed the gamification there too, because this application definitely it works well with. Having the leaderboards, having badges, having something that they get to actually physically win at the end, definitely engages the learner.
Yeah, and on the theme of engagement, were there any challenges putting it on Microsoft Teams for this particular audience?
Yeah, I mean, some of our biggest challenges that we're dealing with all the time is a particularly high percentage of our workforce is on the shop floor working, manufacturing, making the products for our patients. And so trying to engage that group of people that may not necessarily be on a computer all day, very hard. For the most part, the majority of our workforce does not use their phone for work purposes, or it's a personal device for them. And so the only way they can engage is through a tablet, if they happen to have one in their area, or the computer. So we are limited, and we're always trying to find different ways of engaging those type of people. And I'm assuming many people in this call have that same problem. And it's a great discussion to see what's worked at different places. I think even in different types of environments, we all have very similar issues we're dealing with. And I think this happens to be a big one. How to engage a group of people that aren't necessarily on their devices or techie, they just don't understand what it is. So yeah, definitely any good ideas out there, please shout them out.
I do think that is a very common challenge, not only for chatbots, but just getting any sort of information out, period, I think is a global challenge.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Definitely.
It sounds like people had a lot of fun with the personality of Nacho, and that you actually had like a physical, tangible prize or incentive in a t-shirt. That was, it's great to keep on the theme of having it be guacamole colored.
Oh yeah. They did a really good job designing the t-shirt and getting it to the site, and making a little buzz about it once people started seeing it being worn around at the end. It's like, what? Where did you get that? Well, next time around, we'll see. Maybe you'll be lucky enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, even these little things tend to capture people. Any kind of little win for them that they can share with others that may not have it themselves, bragging rights, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah. It was a good experience, great experience working with you guys, especially in such short notice. I mean, I know most people would not try to do something like this with less than, I think maybe had a week or two for you guys to get the script together.
Yeah, it was
and
fast.
it was fast, guys. But really good experience, really good. And it helps to, when the people you're working with understand what you're trying to do. So
Yeah.
you guys really had a true understanding of it and were able to help us push it out there, because there's no way I was going to try and do this on my own.
Well, it was a pleasure. And that is one advantage of our authoring tools, that we can turn around things pretty quickly. And, you know, what I really love about this use case is that there are a lot of really, really important topics that we just need to get out into our audiences, but they're not necessarily on like the direct like path of someone's job description. So like if I'm in sales, I know that culture is important, but you know, it's something that I have to, you know, I have to actually do some work to and commit to go look at that content. So to have something on a chatbot that's fun, engaging, that's gamified is a great solution for that dynamic. So thank you, Val, Daniel, and Obed. If I'm not seeing any questions, if you have any last minute questions, please put them in the chat or on the page too. Once this presentation is over, the recording will be on the landing page on the conference site, and you can always, there's like a chat feature in there, so you can go in there. And those of you that are watching this as a recording, you can go in and put your questions in that Q&A, and we'll monitor that as well. So thank you for this group. Thank you very much of sharing Nacho with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, no, perfect. Thank you so much for having us.
Of course, and we'll let everybody go. Please know that in about 19 minutes, we'll be having our next session, which is training reinforcement chatbot design. So it's not too late to sign up for that and listen in as you're having lunch, maybe. Corey will be leading that session. And then at 1 o'clock, I think that's 1 o'clock Mountain Time, we'll have our writing best practices session. And then at 2 o'clock, there's still time to sign up for our group project. We are building a chatbot as a conference together for a local food bank here in Utah. And we're building a chatbot that will interact and teach the volunteers of that food bank. We're really excited about doing this pro bono community service. And so if you have some time, you'd like to jump in and help, please join us at 2 o'clock as well. So thank you all. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. If we don't see you at our future sessions, otherwise we'll see everybody back in about 15 minutes. Bye.